Hey everybody, Steve Burns here. Okay, so week number 6. So that we can, we're going to be doing some 3D design here. Your final project is going to involve 3D as your primary focus for your project. And I want to kind of cover a little bit better as to how to work with 3D in Photoshop. All eyes up here. And I'm going to show you some quick examples. I tell you what, here's some 3D stuff here. Um, Here's an example of a syringe that I built. Right, this is all in Photoshop. I'm going to open up the file so we can take a look at it. Here's some examples of the individual objects. These are the vector objects, the little flat symbols to the left and right. And then this is what we extruded from those objects. Okay. And we extruded them by using the lathe command or the revolve command to extrude a circular shape from all of these. Okay. In fact, let's go ahead and open up this one here. So I'm using vector shapes. I'm going to create something for you guys as well. Let's give it a hot little minute. All right, there it is. So when you see your ground plane, that automatically tells you that you are now working in a 3D environment. If I turn these off individually, if you look at these, I have several 3D environments in here. They have not yet been merged together. So this is one object. If I come over to here, that's the other 3D object here. Right up here, I have, let's go ahead and turn these off, everything merged together into one 3D scene.
Is that writing on there?
Yes, there's writing on here.
Nice.
All right. So I'm going to cover that a little bit too in terms of how to add color textures to your 3D object. Okay. Let's go over to my 3D panel and think about how to navigate your scene. Now, I target the camera. I use the camera view in rotation mode to actually, move my object around. Okay. Or let's kind of target this here. I can rotate the 3D object around. So that one's in transparency mode. In fact, just to help you guys see this a little better, I'm going to turn this one off. Let's look at something that's a little more obvious. Okay, let's go ahead and turn these on. I'm going to click on the eyeball here so we just have this one object. Okay, so don't forget that in my 3D panel, navigating the scene or the camera allows me to kind of move the camera around. Now, what's happening is with some of you guys have logos, and as a matter of fact, that get imported looking like this, and you can't necessarily see them, but your ground plane is there. That means you need to go to your camera view. Once you're in camera view, go to rotation. You can rotate this back around to see your object in your scene. Sometimes your object gets put like way out here like this somewhere, right? It gets way over there somewhere. What is this going on? Okay, let's move it on over. There we go. It gets way over there and you can't see it. You want to know what the hell's going on, right? Well, if that object does this, then come down here with your 3D object targeted, come right down here to your properties panel, and over to the far right are your coordinate view. These are your axes, X, Y, and Z location, its rotation, and heading, pitch, and bank, and of course your sizing options here. If you just hit this little circular symbol, it'll reset it so it comes right back to 0. So if you import any object in your scene, it's usually a good idea just to reset it with the moving X, Y, and Z location coordinate. All right. So just remember that in any of these objects that you select, it's going to be, you're going to have properties for it. Right. So if I go to my lighting, I have properties for this particular light source. The camera, default camera automatically rotates it back to the default position. Okay. So now let's create something. And here's my thought. And I believe I'll put them right down here. There we go. So what we're going to do, I've got several options here, or several photographs I downloaded for the C-57D space cruiser. All right, so we're going to build this, the C-57D space cruiser. So this is from the movie what? No one knows this movie? You got to be kidding me. The Jeffersons? The Jetsons?
That works.
No, it doesn't work. The C-57D? There's the title, Forbidden Planet. You never seen the Forbidden Planet? Oh my God, you guys ought to just show it in class during lab just to get you educated. Okay, so we're going to build this ship. So I'm going to use that as the background for the ship to be flying in. All right, and we're going to light the scene with this nebula background. All right, let's go have some fun. I'm going to choose this one. This one I think gives me a nice flat view of the overall ship. So let's go ahead and open it up. And I'm going to use it as a reference. So go to my crop tool. Okay. And I'm just going to crop it to the edges just to make it easy on me. Just bring it to the edges. And before I do so, actually, what I should do is what?
Duplicate.
Duplicate and a smart object. Right click, make it a smart object. So I'm going to come back to it later on. We're going to build a landscape scene in 3D as well. And it's easier than you think. So, all right, it's bring it on over to the edges here just to kind of get started here. That's fine. That way we can kind of focus on our ship. Now, let's take a guide. We're going to split it in half. All right, there. Because all we're going to do is we're going to draw half of it. And we're going to draw half of it using our vector tools. So we have, I want to model the top dome separately from the body of the ship, separately from the bottom dome, separately from the landing gears. Okay, so if it's hard to see the detail in there, what I could do is go over to filter. Let's go to our camera raw filter. And in the camera raw filters, I have my shadows here. I can bring up my shadows, see? Kind of opens up the detail in there. It makes it a little bit easier to see. Let's see if we take the saturation out. There we go. I think that'll help better. Okay. Click OK. There we go. Now we can see the little details in there. What we need to model. All right. So I have one. So I tell you what. Let's make a new layer here. Let's go to my nice little brush tool, handy dandy brush tool. We've got this section. I got 12% opacity, by the way. I've got this section here that I need to model. Okay. We've got another section here that we need to draw, I should say. We have another section right down here that I need to draw. finally, I have got this little guy right down in there. Okay. So we also have the landing gear too, since you've asked. Well, what about the landing gear? Got to put in landing gear. All right, so you're going to learn the advantages of doing 3D in Photoshop is its ease of use. And disadvantages is that it's not going to have all of the advanced modeling tools that most 3D packages will have, or standalone 3D packages will have inherently, such as booleans, where you can cut shapes out or add shapes in. Well, we can add shapes in easily in Photoshop, but cutting shapes out is not as easy. All right, so that's my template I'm going to use. So we're going to start with this area up here, and then we're going to go down to the body of the saucer. All right, turn that off temporarily. Let's go ahead and get my vector tool. So I want to get my pen tool, P for the pen tool. I want to make sure shape is selected. I'm going to give it the color red, which is based on the color that I drew originally for that top section. And I'm going to go ahead and draw. So get in close so we can work properly. So what we'll do is I will point here. Shift gives me a straight point up and down. We're going to make a curve right here, which should allow me to just draw it just like this. I have to shift my angle just a little bit to match the curve of this top dome. While I'm working, bring down the opacity a little bit, like 50% or so, right? So we can see what we're doing. Then Shift key, close. Now, what's going on here? Right, so if I take this over here, hold my Alt or Option key, my system's a little frozen up, but I can give it a hot minute to kind of stop thinking here. All right, so click and hold, go to your Convert Point tool, all right? Target it, there. Now, Convert Point tool, I'm going to have to add more than one point in there. It's going to give me a little bit of a problem. So I'm going to go grab this, okay, with the Convert Point tool still selected, all right? I'm going to go grab the Direct Selection tool, and I can grab that point by itself and level it out. There you go. Okay, that's about all we need. I'm going to go over to the Direct Selection tool, and I'll probably just select these 2 points, use my arrow keys just to bring it down just a little bit, because this is going to fit inside the body of the saucer. Right? Come back over to the side here and just pull that on up and just, there we go, redo that to make it a little more accurate. All right, next, let's go to the body of the ship. We'll turn this one off. And let's go to my pen tool once again. P. All right, I'm going to say, I'm going to start here. It's a slight curve to here. Tracing the curve in front of me. Nice slight. That looks good. It kind of bevels inward a little bit. To see the end, I'm going to try to match that to the best that I can. Okay. Now, what I like to do is change that to green, by the way. Here we are. Did it right up here in the options bar. I'm inside my vector drawing tool. These become my properties for vectors, my color fill is what I'm interested in. Notice that the shape, the stroke is completely off, which is good. Okay. And let's go ahead and pull this out a little bit. If I hit my control key, it takes me to the arrow tool. I'm gonna pull it out a little bit more to there. And I want to get in close here because I want to curve that tip. Now, if I put a point here now, my curve's gonna loop way out here, right? So what I'm gonna do is go to the Alt or Option key on the keyboard, click it, and I can start fresh. We'll bring it right down to the bottom here, click and drag it, and do something like so. Or better yet, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm going to just click in the middle as to where the center of the curve and click and drag and do this. That gives me a little better control. A point on the same vertical line as the top point where we began there. Click and drag, and there we go. You have a little better control of that curve there. So I'm going to pull this back. Come right down in here. Do the same thing. Give me a slight little curve there. Come over to here. Slight little curve. Now what I'm noticing, let's bring down the opacity, okay? I'm just now noticing that right underneath is a slight little bevel, another little disc coming out the bottom there, just slight right before we hit the bottom disc here. So I'm going to honor that there. So I'm going to undo to there. Okay. I will control key against my arrow, bring this to here, bring down the opacity once again.
Doorknob.
Yeah, it does look like a doorknob, doesn't it? And Alt gets rid of that handlebar. So if I come over to here, see? This should be straight across. Shift key makes one straight across. And then close it. Okay, there's the body. Let me save this one, Command Shift S. We'll put it back into the 3D folder. The C-57D is a famous sci-fi ship, sci-fi movie. It's definitely a major cult following, and this is a very good one. Starring who? Actually, hold on a minute, just for the fun of it. I'm going to let you guys take a look at this. The captain of the C-57D.
That's the guy who
Images.
This jump skirt like old type of sci-fi or something? Is that why this is so popular?
Well, hold on a minute. I'm looking for the captain. Yeah, they have the photos of him. There.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Who is that?
That was
Earlier years of acting.
Outer Limits.
Leslie Nielsen. Yeah.
That was before Outer Limits.
Yeah, Leslie. This is before Outer Limits, which is my favorite actually. I like the original versions. This was a very famous robot, Robbie the Robot. For that, now, I won't ask you to model that, but
Yeah.
you probably could with a little bit extra work into it. All the different models that came out during that time. I chose this ship because it's simple. Right, it's pretty simple, and there's Leslie Nielsen again. Cool. All right, so yeah, fun stuff. Okay, let's go back to our project. So now let's do the bottom half there. So I'll go ahead and turn this off. And let's make a new one. Go to my pen tool. Let's pull this on over. We'll go right about there. This is going to go inside of, so click and release. And what do we want this one? What's this, yellow, I think it was? Let's go change the color to yellow, make it easy to see. And then bring down the opacity down a little lower, okay? Shift key here, to here, shift key, straight line, shift key, close it, done. Okay. All right, so let's name this one body. All right. Top dome. Let's this one is bottom dome. Now we're going to do the landing gear. Here, this is really the landing gear here. Let's go ahead and turn that one off. All right, so let's change our color. Oh, doesn't want to change this up here. Fine, do it that way. Okay, pretty simple. Click and release, shift, click and release, shift, click and release, shift, click and release, and then make a slight little curve this way, a little tiny, it's a little small area, so you got to get in close, and a little curve like that, right? There it is. Shift, right on the line, shift, close it, there. Okay, there's my landing gear. So landing gear, all right. Okay, we'll come back to the side ones. Show you how to modify those later. All right, so now we turn them all on. Turn that off. There's my ship. Okay, so I like to take the vector shapes and I'm going to select them all and I will duplicate them, Command J, there. Now I go get the original ones on the bottom here, put them in a group, original vectors. Just have them handy there and turn it off, I don't need it. These other ones that I've duplicated, I'm going to make my 3D objects out of those. So let's go to the body, go to our 3D panel, 3D extrusion. We're going to extrude these into shapes. Click create and it created an extrusion. See? There's my 3D object. But what I want to do is I want to take this and I want to circularize it or revolve it. So I'll come right down here to the properties panel, pull it on out, and use a preset. Select it, scroll down to the bottom, and that symbol right there is your revolve command. Click it, and there it is. All right, now I want to get the lighting in here. So evidently, there's my light source. I think the whole thing just went black because that's the color of the. To be quite honest, not quite sure why it went black. Because if I go to the extrusion material, now this is your material. This is where you actually put photographs on the surface of your objects. And my base color is a gray. So if I go to the environment tab, now that's kind of weird. That's working fine. I'm just trying to figure out why it went kind of dark on me here.
Is it because you changed the layer into a black and white stuff?
No. Well, the layer wasn't changed to black and white, I don't think. No, I think it's a lighting issue. If I go to my environment tab and make things brighter, there we go. All right, let's go back to the environment. So environment is using an image to light the scene. And I made it light up too much there. There we go. So clicking on the object. This is my object, 3D object. These are my materials. So the inflation, the front bevel, I mean, we don't have a bevel, but we do have an extrusion. Okay, you see that there. Or if I turn off the environment, which I can do by turning off the image-based light, there's nothing there. Go to my light source and then light it with this. I'm going to increase the intensity of my light source. Very odd. I'm going to have to figure out why. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe what it is under my extrusion, because there was a bug in Photoshop 3D. It applied. I'm going to have to figure out why that is. I'm not quite sure why it's doing that on my machine. I think you have a different result. Well, the color, if we go over to the extrusion material, the color is gray. If I click on it to go inside of it and tell it to be red, you see it's very strange. Let me go over to environment. Let's give this an IBL lighting. All right. So it's reacting.
Did you flip it the wrong way?
Well, no, you. In the question, did I flip it? Because he's in my 3D class, you can flip the polys.
Did you stretch the object the wrong way around?
No, we used the preset.
Okay.
All right, so there it's there. We can see it. I go back to my environment. Let's bring it down a little bit like so. All right. I will have to do some, just figure out what's going on. We'll go ahead and extrude the other shapes and discover what's going on with those. Let's go to the next shape. Go to my, let's turn that one off. I have a 3D layer now. You know that because we have that little cube. Okay, we're going to turn this one off. Let's go to the top. That's the landing gear. In fact, let's do them in order from the top. That's the body. I'll tell you what, we'll go ahead and do the landing gear next. Go to my 3D, extrusion, create. Very interesting. That's going black as well. And this is in 2020, by the way. All right, we'll figure it out. It's something I'll learn. There it is. Let's go modify my environment just so we can see the thing. So my his environment. There we go. See that? Okay. Okay, there's our landing gear. Came out pretty good looking.
Yeah, you had to either go into an adjustment layer or a layer over that.
Well, this is happening in 2020. I don't think it's going to happen on your machines. You guys are using 2019, and we've done this last week. So I'm going to look at the base color here. Wait a minute, I've got a photograph here. Let's eliminate the photograph. This little dog-eared symbol tells me that I have a photograph in there or something, some type of a bitmap image. If I click on it and say edit the texture, there's nothing in it, right? It's just showing me the UV map. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So I'm going to close that off. So what I'll do is I'll click on it and I will say remove the texture, see what happens. Okay, so the texture is gone. We can go back and put a texture in there if we want to, but I'm going to keep it gone for now. All right, let's see. We got this is something different here. Height. These are all different. This is new in 2020. Density. This is different. Very interesting. Translucence, refraction. That's if you're going to have windows and you want to make, you're going to make a glass, you want something to look like light is bending inside the glass. Opacity, that's messing with the opacity of the object. The height, I'm assuming, is your bump map. Remember before when we did this tutorial, it said bump? I thought we did when we put bump in there. That should say bump. Now they've renamed it to height. Okay. All right. So we'll work with that. We'll go with that one. Let's go to the next layers and alter those to 3D objects. So go right down here to the bottom dome, and the same thing. Just go over to my 3D. Click create. It's already in the extrusion. Click create, and immediately just come right down here and grab that. There it is. That one's done. Go to the next one. Go back to layers. I'm going to turn that off temporarily. And the last one I'm missing is that one, which is the top dome. And top dome is targeted. Go to my 3D panel. Extrusion is already selected. Create. And come right down here and give it a lathing command. There. Okay. So the question here is, I'm going to just bring up this intensity there so we can see everything.
Is it a gradient?
It's not a gradient. Now you can see all of them are on their own separate layers. If we come right back to here, they're all on their separate layers. We want this to be one single object to make our spaceship. That means all of these 3D objects, I'm just hitting the little triangular button here to bring up the attributes so we can see them all on right next to one another. Okay. Pull this down. There they all are right there. So I want all of them to be merged into a single 3D object. Select the top one. In fact, it doesn't matter. I mean, I like to put the top dome, to kind of organize it in the way that it's going to be placed. Just like this, so that the landing gear is on the bottom, everything else is on the top. Now, select the top one. Shift key, go to the bottom one, and to merge them all into a single 3D scene is under the 3D menu, target, merge 3D layers, second one down. I hit that, boom, there it is. Now it seems to be working. So let's hit the F key, move this on over a little bit, because I see some very odd behavior here. That little piece right there, right? That shouldn't be happening. So this truly is a 2020 bug issue. Yeah, it's a bug issue. So this is what we have to do. In 3D, you notice that all of my 3D objects are listed individually here. The top dome, the body bottom dome, the landing gear here.
Yeah, so the top dome is now comes from.
The top dome is right there. Top dome's right there. We know, don't worry. I've got a fix for all this. So, where's the bottom dome actually? Right there. The bottom dome is right now. That's the bottom dome. The top dome is way up here. See? Okay. This is an old bug. 2020 should not be manifesting itself like this. They should be kind of listed right here in front of you, or shown right here in front of you. So I'm going to have to, submit this as a bug report to Adobe. Okay, so the first thing that you do is this. We need to merge everything into a single 3D folder. In other words, they're all separate folders. It's a pain in the rear to organize. Excuse me? Okay. So what you're going to do is go to 3D menu, and you're going to come down here, group all objects in the scene. It's going to put all your 3D objects into a single folder where you can find everything. If we click it, boom, see? Right there. Now they're listed under one scene. Now, why is that important? Because
Did you type that in? Scene objects?
I did not. It automatically called it scene objects. You can change the name. Double click it, call it the C57D, and rename it. There's our starship. Why is this important? Because now, what if I want to manipulate everything as one piece? Everything, it will be resized or navigated as one single piece. So what I want to do is I need to reset everything. Remember that little reset option I showed you down here? This is what you do. Landing gear. Reset. Boom. Reset means it puts it under the 0, 0, 0 coordinate, dead center of your ground scene. Same thing for bottom dome. Reset. Boom. Body. Reset. You seeing how I'm seeing everything now lit properly? What I didn't before. And then the top dome. Reset. There. So what I'll do is once everything is reset, so we're gonna reset its rotation as well. It'll be a lot easier. So I should have done them both. Reset rotation. Go to here. Rotation as well. Go to here. Rotation. So everything's zeroed out. And target the last one. The rotation's all zeroed out. That way everything is flat and organized. You know where they are. So now we'll start with the body. We'll use that as the base. So I've got my 3D widget here. X, Y, and Z, red, green, and blue. Color coordination. Red is X, green is Y, and Z for blue. Okay. So if I put my cursor right on the tip of the arrow, I can just move it up. That restricts it to the Y-axis. So I'll put it right about there. All right, let's go get the top dome. There. Go to the Y-axis, tip of it, and just place it right in there, like that. Now go get the bottom dome and place it right like that. Get the landing gear and organize it. There we go, just like that. And there's my ship. So if I click on the head, the main folder, I can cascade them up, by the way. Now I can see, there's my ship. What was that? Oh yeah. So good. Now we have holes in them, but there's a reason why. If I go to let's go to the top. If I go to the extrusion option, which is, the extrusion is what's causing it, because we extruded it into a circle, right? Pull this up. I should have, I want to go into the actual object. Here's my extrusion depth. I can continue to extrude this and manipulate this. If I set it to 0, boom, hole's gone. And that's what I want. If I go back up to the main folder, rotate it around, look at the bottom. See, the bottom's got the same problem. So I go to the landing gear here, right? And I go to my extrusion option here, set that to 0. There, hole's gone. And to make it accurate, I'll go to the body. Okay, I'll go to the body and set that to 0 as well. Go back up to the folder. There we go. Okay, so we've got our ship. We have our 3D widget. You can see the circular options on here is basically restricting it to those axes. If I want to reset the whole group, like I come right down here, reset this, and reset the angle. The whole group is just reset as one 3D object. Then you can come in here and grab it and move that wherever you want it, right on the ground plane if you like. If we go to our light source here, move this around, let's take down the environment light, which is pull that down a little bit. Okay, and let's go to my light source here. It's there. Now what's interesting too is the light source seems to be positioned in a very odd manner. Increase the intensity. Yeah, this is positioned very, let me see, if I got the light source, can I reset that? No, that's not going to do anything. Yeah, there's been some very odd changes. Go back to this button here under properties. That takes me back to my intensity, shadows. Where's your positioning? That's over here. Yeah, but I don't have that option with this particular. Oh, is that?
It showed up for a second when you did rotation.
Well, rotation is available. Oh, I see. That's a bug. This particular light source should not. That's odd. Yeah, we got a bug. That's a bug. It won't happen on your machines. All right, it won't happen on your machines. You can test that out. I should have a shadow hitting the ground and everything on here. But I'm going to have to rely mostly on the environment for this one. So take the environment light source and adjust that accordingly. Right, I'm going to have to rely on that mostly. Now, that's not the environment I want. I want to bring in a different background. So let's go get that nebula, which somehow got moved here. On the bottom. Right there. Open it up. Okay. Let's bring that on in. Drag it here. Let's see if this works. This is mostly a bug in 2020, so let's keep that in mind. So I'm going to put the nebula background underneath my object. Okay. Let's move it like so. All right. Looks like there's a little bit of reflection properties on the ship as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to light this scene with this photograph. And the way you do it, we go back to our 3D panel. Well, select the starship there. Go back to the 3D panel. And we're going to go to the environment tab. This is what we use. This is what we're using right now to light the scene. If I turn this off, the whole 3D object goes black, with the exception of that light source here that's on. which I don't know why it's not lighting the whole scene, and just those edges. But inside the environment, I can light the scene with that photograph. And what I do is I hit the IBL option here, and to the right of IBL, which is image-based light, I have a little folder. Currently, inside the folder is this image. So if I click on the folder and say Edit Image, that's the image lighting the scene. That's not the image I want. The image I want is the nebula in the background. So I'm going to hit the folder again, replace the texture, go get the new texture here, and click Open. Boom. So click on the 3D object temporarily. See? So now it's going to look like it's in that photographic scene. This is being lit properly. This is exactly. Now this is where it gets cool, right? What it did was it took that photograph. Well, use your imagination this way: that there's a big giant dome all around the whole galaxy, and that dome is lighting this whole 3D scene. That's what that photograph is doing. The 3D program has taken a big giant dome around your 3D environment, mapped that object on that dome that around the 3D, not a dome, but a sphere, a complete 360-degree sphere around your entire 3D environment, and then we can rotate this image accordingly. So if we target environment with your move tool selected, I can see that. I can rotate the image and have it and then change the light source any direction I want. Go back to the object, see what's going on there. So there's some reflection properties on the 3D object. We know that because if we go to the C57 3D, let's start with the top dome, target this one here, and go to the extrusion. And right down here we have a metallic and applied, and we have, oh, is that the they changed reflections to metallic. This used to be called reflection. They changed to metallic. So if I pull this up high, right, that kind of cool. All right, go to our environment again, rotate it around. Yeah, we can play with that. So it's reflecting in the scene here. You can see it reflecting everywhere. Does that make sense?
That's badass.
Isn't that fun?
Excuse me.
So for your final, this is kind of what you're going to do. You're going to your 3D object is going to be your primary. It's going to be your primary point of focus, or your main character for the stage. Then you're going to build everything around it using photo compositing, and you're welcome to add more 3D to it. Now, what if you want to do a 3D landscape around it or something? You have the option to do this next technique, which I'm hoping is not going to crash 2020. Let me just Command S and save this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a different file so I don't crash this one. And just keep in mind, I expect on your machines here and at home, you're not going to have the problems I'm having right now. This is some bugs in 2020 I'm going to have to report. So I want a ground plane. So I'm going to make a brand new file. We'll do a 5x5 at 200 ppi. I think I've got one in here. There it is. And I'm going to go to my layers, and I'm going to give this a brand new layer, but I'm going to fill it with the medium gray. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a displacement map. And what displacement maps are is using black and white information to create peaks and valleys. All right. So I'm going to go down to the bottom color. I'm going to make kind of a medium gray instead of a bright white. So black in the top, medium gray on the bottom, filter menu, render, and we're going to render clouds. Okay. Let's go filter render. Let's try some different clouds. And then let's apply it again. Filter, apply different clouds again. Okay, we can work this out. We'll work with this. The white areas are going to be your peaks. Your darker areas are going to be the base or your valleys. So black is valleys, medium gray is mid-range to make the sides of the mountains, and the whites are your peaks. If I go to my 3D panel, and this time, instead of 3D extrusion, I'm going to want mesh from depth map. And I want the depth map to be a plane. Just a single plane. So it's going to look at everything in this layer. It's going to look at, even if there's color in here, this will work with color, but all it's going to do is turn that color to black and white. That's all it's doing. So depth maps don't understand color. They only understand value system. Medium gray to white or blacks. If I target create, let it think, and there it is. All right. Now, go to my target the object, rotate it around.
So this is like creating an actual 3D bump map?
Okay, the question is this like making a 3D bump map? It's the exact same thing. The only difference is that bump map does not move geometry. It gives you a visual trick that the surface is textured, but the surface isn't really textured. Here, it moves the geometry to give you real texture. So remember that problem we discovered in Photoshop where we need to go over here to the environment and just increase the environment. There we go. See? Some reason we got a bug in here. I can control the peaks of the mountain. See what it's done is see? Let's say you want our starship to land somewhere in this base here. All right, I'm going to save this one, Command-Shift-S, because I'm going to call this one landscape. And I want to modify this. So I will go to my depth map with the 3D object targeted. With the 3D object targeted, right on your properties panel, it's giving me the ability to edit that 3D object. If I click on edit source, sit back and relax, it should bring up the actual file. So what I want to do is I want to paint over this one. Go to my layers. There's my original layer, right? I can make a new layer on top of this one. Hit the B for the brush. And let's make the brush a little bigger. There we go. And we're going to make some sort of a terrain in here. A flat terrain. So the ship is going to land right in the inside. And it's going to be mountain ranges. And maybe we'll have some gullies of river gullies, coming up all around the sides here. I'll modify my brush. So you can say some river beds are coming all through here. Right. So that's this top layer, right? Now if I want to, filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and blend it in there a little better, see? You're just using your head. Now, let's, it's thinking. I went over to the 3D object, so it wants to see that? It modified it. So if I come back here to this one, all you do is Command S to save it. And that should update. Okay. If I come back to this one again, use my brush and really press down hard to give it a nice flat terrain in there. Now, Command S. And just watch it. See? See it jump down? Now, what you're seeing here is the color. That actual black and white cloud map was not only mapped in as a displacement map, but it was also mapped in as a color map. So I'm going to close this one out temporarily. I will Command S this one to save it. I can take out that color map so that we can see just the terrain. To do so, 3D panel, go to my 3D object. That's the object there. Oh, I'm sorry. This is the object. We'll call this one terrain. Okay. This is the material for the terrain here. Right down here is my base color, which is what? There's a photograph in there. Click it and just simply remove the texture. Boom. See? So now this is revealing as to why I might be getting black from those other objects. If you take a look at this, this is transparent. One of the bugs in Photoshop that happened in the past was that if I apply a displacement map, it also applied it to the transparency channel. So I need to go find the transparency. So here's my object. Go to my texture panel, and there it is, opacity, right there. Grab it, remove it. Boom, there it is. So now I can go to my environment and probably bring that down quite a little bit. Okay. So there's my, now here's a fun one. I'll bring that back up because it's still buggy in terms of the lighting. If I want to adjust the edginess of the mountains, I can, with the 3D widget, I not only can rotate it, but here I can resize it by clicking that, highlighting the yellow cube in the bottom, or I can resize it in any direction, which is stretch it. See the riverbed down in there that we painted in there? Now, if I go right up here for stretching it downward, I'm going to rotate it this way so I can see the little square a little better. Just target that cube and drag down, and I can, there we go, I can get better control of this. So what I need to do next is bring it into my other 3D object, right? So I'm going to save it so I don't lose it, just to make sure I don't something goes wrong. I still have it. Go to my layer. Here's my 3D layer. I'm going to pull it out of the, and then grab the layer itself and just drag it right over there like so. And let's hope it doesn't crash. Got it. Good. All right. So close this one out. I've already saved it. All right. Go to my layers, and you can see my two 3D objects. Let's rename this one terrain. select the 2 and do what? 3D, merge 3D layers. Sit back and relax, and let's hope it doesn't crash. All right, it's got the iron, it's got the hourglass going. Oh my gosh, it didn't crash. Look at it. It's right there. So it's right there. Pretty good. All right, so right now we're in there. Go to 3D panel. We have to do the same thing. Right, here's my terrain. It all okay. This C67D, it didn't quite merge them, but what I can do is go back to my 3D, come down here, group all objects in scene. There. Now they're all in one scene. You can recall it whatever you want. So here's my terrain, and I'm going to reset this one here. So the terrain targeted, go to my properties down here, and reset position, reset rotation. There we go. Yeah. Okay. So I wanted to rotate it the other way, so I'm going to have to target the camera and move my camera around. Now target the terrain and go to the blue and rotate the terrain around like so. Okay, this has got to be big, right? So click on the cube right in the middle, it's highlighted yellow, and just and keep going. No, sound effects are not included. Keep going bigger. Oh, look at that, cool. Go bigger and bigger. All right, let me go hit the F key here. Okay, go back to my camera to rotate around my entire scene. Okay, let's keep going. Target the terrain, make it bigger, and just keep going as far as you need to go. Because the whole concept is that this is going to fit inside that terrain.
So the terrain expanding over the canvas was this terrain?
Yeah, I mean, I can go to the numbers here and make them even bigger. Right? So now I'll take the terrain. Let's pull it up above that ground plane. Okay, there we go. See that? Right about there. Okay. Something like this. If I target the entire scene, which I've just done, I can move everything up above the ground plane. There we go. Okay, so if I want to change any of the color, we have to go to each individual parts. For example, if we go to the body of the ship, select it, you have to go to the extrusion. Everything grays out with the exception of the body that I've selected. And I can change the color. So I can come over here and go to like red, see? Or green or whatever I want. I want to keep it like a medium gray. I have that option to do so. Okay. Fun stuff, huh? So think about what you might want to create to build your scene. It could be sci-fi. Maybe you want to build a bunch of skyscrapers in 3D, and that's going to be, and then everything else will be composited around it. This is something to start thinking about for your final. Okay, so we didn't really use that many 3D parts to create this. Something just think of, use something very simple.
Does it expand both sides of all the tools, or just the screw tool?
Now, say that again.
No, you only did half the ship, and then it connected to the rest of the.
Right, I only did half the ship because I only needed to do half the ship to lathe it around, to use the lathing command.
Okay, is that the only command that you can use to do that, or do all those commands continue the?
That's the only command that does the revolving technique. So, for example, let's go ahead and just show you. I'll go back to my.
I think you got it on the cube or something.
Yeah, let's go back to the. There. Okay. All right. Let me show you what these do. So if I go, we'll make a new layer. We'll make just a simple little rounded rectangle shape. Make a medium gray here. And go to my options for the corners. I'll kind of round off the corners a little more like that. Okay. Now we're going to make that a 3D object. So 3D extrusion, click create. It automatically makes a linear extrusion. So what's happening here that I can see is that my lights aren't working in here. So I'm having to have to rely on the environment and bring it up really, really brighter than it should be. So once my object is targeted, once again, I have several options for extruding. You get some presets in here where this one will twist it, or that one will do a little. That one to give it like a quarter lathe. Let's bring this up higher. There. It's doing a quarter lathe. You can see the shadows on the bottom, but you know, something's wrong with 2020. If we go to my 3D object once again, you have like a corkscrew technique. See, that's a half lathe. It's like a pound cake. And guess what we can do? If we target the extrusion, and by the way, if I target the camera, I've been rotating it all this time, but we can go over here and we can go to the pan tool to kind of move it around on X and Y axis. We can go to this tool to zoom in and out. Hold your shift key down helps. Oops, just froze up on me. Okay, so if we go to this one that's going to move on your Z-axis. Okay, so that one titled the 3D Camera Slide Tool. Hold your Shift key down, and usually that'll slide in and out, which is actually freezing it up. So again, resume. Now I want to change the surface on here. Go to my 3D object, the extrusion tool, and if I come down here, let's start with the materials. To the right of your base color are your material presets. And if you scroll down, you get all types of materials down here. So you want it to be like a gold colored reflective surface. Click it and there it is. Something copper colored, glass-like. All right. You want this blue, high gloss blue. Let's go to my rotation command for this.
It's a good place to do eyeballs.
A good place to do what?
Eyeballs?
Yeah. Well, anything. It's a good place to do it. To do anything. Let's go to my. You have to be in your material, right? Your extrusion material. To the right, we got all types of options here. We can do something like that. That one showed up pretty good. That showed up very well. All right, it's really amazing. Go back to extrusion, drop down, and how about this grassy looking thing? There. All right, so we can drop, just basically just click on it. Boom. Or that one. Or that one. That one has transparent holes in it. It's messing with the opacity channel. Black makes your object completely transparent, while white will show your object on that particular channel. See? So the question is, if can I copy these or save these? Yes. Right down here, go to your drop menu, go to your gear symbol right there to the right. Let's pull this over to the left. Drop it down, go to the gear symbol. There you go, new material. So if you make a manual change to this, say for example, you like that material but you don't want the red, so you decide I want to change that to, like, let's go green, like that. And you know what? I want more metallic, like that. I want more reflections, or let's see, what's this? Refraction, density, glow. Ooh, we want the glow, right? I want the glow more, like this, right? Okay, you can save that. Drop menu, where your presets are. Go to your gear symbol, new preset, and call it my own style. Green. And click OK. And it's in there. Bing, right there. So you can save your own presets.
I think you can download additional presets from those, like textures.
Yes, you can. You can download additional presets. I think Adobe gives it to you from their site. So we have to reset materials, replace textures, save textures. They have a place on their site where you can download more materials, and I'm forgetting where it is. Would it be under up here? I think it's under the help menu, or it's under the 3D menu. Get more content. Get more content. Right there. Under 3D menu, get more content. Click it. It goes online to Adobe and says, what do you want to download? You scroll down and, okay, it gives you a little bit of verbiage here, but I think this will be part of your Creative Cloud subscription. Let's see. Let's hit the download. Click. Where do we go? What can we download? Okay, so Adobe Stock for photographs, right? And just come down here. Now, I guess you want to look at the Fuse is worth taking a look at. That's pretty fun. That's pretty fun. In fact, let's take a break, and I'm gonna come back and show you Fuse. It's human characters, 3D human characters. And you might want to try integrating. Might like to integrate some of these for your projects. All right, let's go to. Oh crap! All right, so more 3D options for your project. Adobe Fuse. If you have the Creative Cloud, you have it there. Fuse is free as part of the cloud. If I go to, let me go to my Creative Cloud real quick. I should be able to, there it is. You'll see it Should be part of this here. So fuse right there. Okay. It still says it's in beta. All right, but what it is it's a 3D program for creating characters and animating characters. And you can bring both the characters and the animated characters or the animated sequences inside of Photoshop. So let's create a character. Let's do this this male scan number 2. Double click it, and it's going to show up here. There's my 3D head. Okay, and up here my navigational tools. Currently I've got rotation selected. That resets it. The top one is your pan tool. Okay. Let's see. This is that's something different there. Okay, this is for painting or altering your character's face. All right. we've got that option for actually using the painting tools or painting a type of a painting tool to reshape our character. Okay, we won't do that for now. Okay. Oh, did it crash? Did it crash? I think it did.
It always crashes on certain computers.
That's right.
Crashes when it's beta.
It's a beta, right? What do I expect? All right.
It's still in beta mode.
It's still in beta mode. Normally, it's pretty reliable. So there's my head. Now let's get the body. Male scan number 2. Double click the body. Okay, the body's placed in. Next, let's go to arms. Male scan number 2. I'm going to match them up here. You can mix and match if you like. You know, get something unusual. All right. So now I want to clothe my characters. Okay. So I have individual rooms. I got my assemble room. See, I can turn this around. Look at my characters. I can go to my customize the arm. So if I or any parts of the body that I want, wherever I drag is highlighting a portion of the body that's going to be selected, right? So if I grab this arm, for instance, and drag it, you can see the slider. I'm using my mouse to drag left to right, or you can come over here and grab the sliders and make modifications to its muscular, to the muscular system. Okay, so just play around with these. And like forearms, I can extend them. You know, wherever whatever I want to do, I can grab the legs, make them thicker or a little thinner. Your choice. All right, now.
You just click it on the body part?
Yep, I'm just mousing over the body part, and it highlights it. I want the belly. Adjust the belly up or down, in or out. I've got that choice. Go to my clothing. All right, let's dress them up. Let's grab, double click on this one. Give it some time to think. Let's go get some bottoms. Target the bottoms. Let's go grab those there. Let's go get some shoes. How about if we grab maybe some of these boots here? Hair, won't worry about hair for now, but just play around with that.
Straight out of boot camp.
Yep, straight out of boot camp. Hats. Let's go grab this guy here. Cool. Okay, kind of move it around. Got a hat on there. Okay, eyewear. No, not that. No beards. Gloves are cool. Here, we'll grab those. Okay, I've got gloves. Okay. Now, these are kind of cool here. How about if I grab something like this? gas mask concept. Okay, that's kind of cool. Mustaches, we don't care about that. Now, here's where it gets fun. And I don't think it works very well in Opera, and Opera is my default browser. I believe it works better in either Firefox or, so we'll give it a try, Firefox or Chrome. So if I send a Mixamo is an online fuse model. I'll let's say Steve's model. Mixamo is an online animation system. So this is it's going to send it to an online site where we're going to animate the character with predefined motion capture data. So it's thinking. Mixamo, M-I-X-A-M-O. Right, Mixamo.
So Mixamo only use Adobe 3D models?
Mixamo was a company that was bought by Adobe, and this whole system was built by the Mixamo company. Now, it goes into the website. Your character should show up here. Mixamo. Adobe Mixamo. Now, it's doing an auto rigging right now. I am hoping it will work. If it doesn't, I will have to go change my preferences, or I can just copy the link to another into another browser. Right.
Sketch it out.
So it's waiting. It's waiting. Now, if I have problems with it, which I think it's actually, good. There he is. And look at the motion applied to it. So I can click here. Here's my navigational tools. So this rotating by default. And I can move around them like this. It's an online animation system. If I go to my pan tool here, I can pan around in my scene. And it's really fast. I can go to my zoom tool and zoom in and zoom out of my scene.
Can we make him do anything?
So the question is, can you make him do anything only with the predefined motion data that is here?
Which is that right there?
Which is what you're seeing. All right, but we want more motion capture data, right? What if I want him to flip or throw a punch or go swimming? Whatever I want. We go to finish. And we're going to sit back and relax. It's thinking. The question is, does Mixamo come with an account? Yes, it's with your Adobe account. So if you already logged into your Adobe account, then you'll automatically be sent.
Oh, cool.
You're already in there.
That's easy.
Okay. So we're letting it think here. I've got the little flashing cursor here saying that it's trying to access to other data. And I found that this is always more reliable inside of Firefox and or Chrome.
Do you do your gaming in this Mixamo?
Well, Mixamo, what it's using is characters that would normally be used in a gaming environment, using geometry, 3D geometry. So you don't do gaming in Mixamo. Mixamo is a design function, right? As all of Adobe's products are, more of a design concept. So it's allowing you to help design a concept. So I'm going to copy this. Let me see if I can actually bring this over into Firefox and see if I can get a better response. It's probably not going to bring in that same character. Okay, log in. Maybe I can use my Facebook account. Maybe it'll allow me to do it.
You have a chat line on Firefox?
All right. This is what I should be saying. I do not have a chat line. I don't chat.
It looked like you were getting ready to chat with somebody.
No, I was not.
I was going to chat you, man.
So, normally my character is here. If I go back to, it's still thinking.
You got it.
Right, right. But normally, if we go back to the other, your character will be here, doing that same motion pose you have now. And then say I want this one is falling to the ground. Click it. Boom. All those moves will be applied to your character. Right?
What if the model is out of proportion to this character?
Now, what do you mean?
Let's say you made a duck, and it's going to obviously be out of proportion to this model.
So you're talking about the sizing of another character in relationship to this?
Yes, sure.
All right. So hold that question.
Okay.
Let's hold that question. It's going to make sense. If I want her dancing, if I want dribbling, falling down, I've got my navigation tool, so I can click on this and just drag it up. You get all types of characters here. So I want to bring them inside of Photoshop. So I'm going to download this. And what we want is a collada file, a .dae. Everything else you keep the same. Now, if I hit download, it should ask me where do I want to save it. Sit back and relax, and there it is. So save the file. I'm going to go put this file inside. Oh, I didn't tell it where to save it. I just told it to. So go to my downloads folder, open up the folder. Okay, there's my zombie stand. So I'm going to copy this and put this where I wanted it to go, which is going to be in my 3D folder for the school files. So student files, student work files, 3D folder, and 3D character. I'm going to double click that one. And I'll tell you what, I'll make a new folder. We'll call it 3D character 2. 3D character 002. Put it inside there. Paste it. At least my intention was to paste it. What happened? Oh, all right. I thought I had. We'll go grab it here. Go get the folder. All right. Right click, copy. I thought I hit Control C, but evidently it didn't capture it. Go into the folder, Control V. There we go. Double click it. I'm going to go grab that DAE, go back to the root of the folder and paste the collada file into the root of the folder. Okay, 3D character. Let's go into Photoshop. Which is right there. Okay. Go to my layers. Turn that one off. Make a brand new layer. 3D. This time, under my 3D panel, drop down to source file. I want a file. Click create. Where do we get the file? Student work files inside of 3D character number 2, zombie stand colada. It sees the file. This is telling me the dimensions if I was going to 3D print it. Okay, click OK. Sit back and there she is. All right, now once again in 2020 there appears to be a lighting issue. So I'll go to the environment and we'll just bring up the lighting like so. Okay. So here's my character. Right? If I click on my ground plane, there's my character. But I want to see my character animate like I saw online. Well, to do so, window menu, and we're going to go to timeline. Click it. There's my timeline. This is going to show me all my animated possibilities or keyframes. Click on create video timeline, and there she is. So every layer in this scene has a timeline. So if I come over here and say I'm gonna delete this layer here, it goes away. I will delete this layer here, it goes away. Now I click on the scroll bar and I do my character.
Wait on you like 2 seconds.
Right, now you can stop your timeline on any position you want your character to pose in and freeze it there and use that for your character in your project. So I have the move tool selected again. Go to my 3D panel. Make sure I'm in the right layer. I'm not. I'm in the background. Target it here. 3D layer. The camera is targeted. I want to pan the camera over a little bit. Also want to change my format of my document. C key for the crop tool. Let's bring it up. Maybe bring it a little wider like this. Click OK. And what I would do is my bottom layer was just a pixel layer. So what I'll do is put in a color fill in there. Make it a medium gray. Alright, and then I can play around with this. I'm going to delete this. If you look on the timeline, wherever my cursor was placed, or whatever the playhead was placed, that's where it put that color fill layer. So I need to go back and pull it back over so it starts at frame 0. Right there. Now, from frame 0 all the way through, and of course you can bring this character into your documents. Okay, so now Mixamo and Fuse will work fabulously on your computers at home. In 2020, there seem to be some bugs.
So we save this, all that saved, and the file we save it in the file?
Yep, TIFF is fine because it'll save the layers and all the properties. The question is what format to save it in.
Thank you. Excuse me.
Okay. That was it.